The theater stood like a corpse in the middle of the city. Hollow-eyed windows, soot-streaked walls, and a marquee with letters long blown away by wind and time. Locals called it the Hollow Stage. Others didn't speak of it at all. They arrived just after dusk, the kind of dusk where the sky bleeds into purple but refuses to die. 5 of them, Cameron, Mara, Jules, Vic, and Lennox, each with cameras strapped to their chests or cradled in hand, drawn by the thrill of myth and the promise of clicks. The kind of story that went viral if shot right. Ghost theater, what they don't want you to know. Cameron was the ringleader. He had that brand of confidence that made people follow even when their gut twisted the other way. He said he found a floor plan online, unlocked maintenance door in the alley behind a boarded Duncan. All the locks were rusted, he said, and the dark doesn't bite unless you let it. Mara hesitated at the threshold, her hand grazing the scorched brick. It felt too cold, colder than the air, like the wall had never warmed up again after the fire 10 years ago. She didn't believe in hauntings, but something about the place felt paused, like it had inhaled a breath and never exhaled. Inside, it smelled of mold, ash, and something older, celluloid rot and theater makeup long turned to dust. The grand lobby had collapsed in places, ceiling torn open like a wound. Jules ran her fingers over the ticket booth glass, cracked like a spider web. She said, "No bodies were ever found," as if the walls were listening.
Lennox laughed it off, but it sounded brittle. Urban legend. Whole crowd vanishes mid-performance. Come on. Fire just burned hot enough to leave nothing behind. People love mysteries. Down in the projection room, behind a warped steel door, they found it. A single reel in a dented tin marked with a smudged label in red ink. Final curtain. No date, no markings, just that title bleeding at the edges. "This is it," Cameron said, eyes alight. "We screen this, we own the narrative. Exclusive." Vic frowned. "We don't even know what's on it. Could be garbage." "Or gold," Cameron countered. "This is what they were watching when they vanished. Think about it. The last thing they ever saw." He grinned, the way someone might grin standing on the edge of a cliff. They lugged a generator in from the van, patched it through cracked wires and a stubborn old projector. The theater seats, some still intact, groaned beneath their weight. The screen at the front had melted at the top, a drooping white shroud. Mara sat in the second row, arms folded. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, not loud wrong, but hushed, like the silence right before a scream. The projector flickered to life. Dust floated through the beam like ash. The reel rolled. The screen showed an audience, not actors, not a play, an audience, silent, rows upon rows of people sitting in the same theater, unmoving. Their faces weren't clear, blurred like smudged glass, but Mara was sure of it. They were watching her. Jules leaned in. "That's this place." Vic swallowed. "Those are the seats. Our seats." Cameron chuckled, but it wavered. "A gimmick. Mirror effect or something. Don't fall for it." On screen, One of the figures in the audience twitched almost imperceptibly, and then slowly, agonizingly slowly, turned their head toward the camera. Then the reel snapped, and Vic was gone.
No one screamed. The absence of Vic was too sudden, too sharp. One moment he was shifting in his seat, brushing popcorn dust from his hoodie. The next, his seat was empty, gently rocking, as if he had only stood to stretch his legs. "Vic?" Jules called into the space between rows. Silence. Not just absence of reply, but dead silence, the kind that feels thick in the throat. The air no longer hummed with the generator. Even the projector had stilled, the reel flapping weakly like a tattered wing. Mara stood up too fast and stumbled. "This isn't a prank, right?" Her voice trembled, unguarded now. "Tell me this isn't one of your immersive experiences, Cam." Cameron stared at Vic's empty seat. He cleared his throat, trying to lock the cracks in his voice behind confidence. "He probably went backstage. You know him, always trying to scare someone. Probably thinks it's hilarious." But Lennox was already moving, flashlight swinging across the aisle. "We would have heard him. He was right next to me. Nobody got up." "No one gets up like that," Jules whispered. It was like he was erased. The four of them split up, calling for Vic. They searched the dressing rooms, where mold bloomed on shattered vanities, the stage rigging, where ropes still dangled like nooses, the orchestra pit, where burnt instruments lay melted into each other like bones in a pit. Nothing. No footsteps, no dust disturbed, not even the echo of movement. Just a hollow quiet of a place that had forgotten sound. Mara found herself back at the projection booth. The reel still hung loose, but behind it, almost hidden beneath coiled wires and old film cases, was another tin, smaller, unlabeled. She hesitated. Everything inside her screamed not to touch it, but her hand moved anyway, fingers trembling. It was warm. Not just room temperature, warm, like it had just been held. She brought it down to Cameron. He looked pale but intrigued, as if fear and obsession were waging war inside him. "We don't play it," Jules said immediately, stepping between him and the projector. "We don't know what it is. Vic disappeared while we were watching the first one." "That could have been a coincidence," he said, tone flat, mechanical. "He might have gone to get help. Signal's dead. He's probably outside calling someone." "Then go outside," Lennox snapped. "Walk out right now. Tell me if the door still opens." It didn't. The main exit was sealed, not locked, but completely sealed over, like it had never been a door at all, just scorched wall. Where they had entered, there was now blackened brick, seamless, solid. Jules pressed her palms flat against it. No, this isn't possible." "It's the real," Mara whispered. "It started when we played it." Cameron finally looked afraid, not annoyed or skeptical. Afraid. "Then we finish it." They all turned to him. "What?" "We played it halfway, right? Maybe it's a loop, a trap. It needs to finish." "That's how you think you fix it? Finish the cursed tape? What the hell is wrong with you?" Cameron didn't flinch. "Everything has a narrative and rules. We're inside something now. If we stop in the middle, maybe it keeps us suspended. But if we finish it, maybe it lets us go." Mara met his eyes. There was no madness in them yet, just cold logic pressed against the edge of panic. "Or maybe it finishes us," Lennox muttered, but no one answered him. The second reel clicked into place. This time, The screen showed only the stage. The curtains, blackened and moth-eaten, pulled open with impossible smoothness. On the stage stood a man, dressed in a tattered tuxedo, back to the camera, and arms raised. In the front row, Jules whimpered. The man on the screen raised a hand and pointed directly at her. And then she, too, was gone.
Jules vanished without sound. One blink, there she was, hand clutched over her mouth, trembling. And the next, the seat beside Mara was vacant, its cushions barely indented. The flashlight she held clattered to the floor, rolling in a slow circle before coming to a stop with the beam pointed at the stage. Lennox was the first to move, staggering back from the row like it had bitten him. "No, I'm not watching that thing again. We turn it off. We destroy it." Cameron's jaw twitched, staring at the flickering screen, now empty, just an unmoving shot of that worn stage, curtains open like a mouth expecting applause. "She didn't scream," Mara whispered, still staring at Jules's empty seat, "just like Vic." "She didn't have to," Lennox snapped. "Don't you get it? That tape, it's watching us, not the other way around." "Then we leave the room," Mara said, pulling herself up. "We don't finish it. We don't play anything else. We wait till morning, till someone comes looking. Let the cops deal with it. Let them bring sledgehammers or priests or whatever the hell this place needs." But Cameron wasn't listening. His eyes were glassy, transfixed. "It's not finished." Lennox moved to the projector and yanked the power cable from the generator. The image blinked out. Darkness swallowed the theater. "Done," he hissed. "No more film, no more magic trick. We sit here in the dark until morning if we have to." A silence spread like oil. Then the screen, unplugged, unlit, glowed faintly. Mara's breath hitched. "Cam!" The projector was off, but the screen now flickered with grainy movement, like it had been lit from within. A slow pan across the audience again, but this time the camera moved closer. Row by row, seat by seat, each figure was clearer now, faces still hazy like frost-bitten photographs, but taking form. Some mouths slightly open, heads tilted, hands clasped in their laps. Lennox swore under his breath and took a step back, flashlight jerking wildly. "How is it still playing?" Mara pointed a finger, shaking. "Second row, center left. Her!" The screen showed her. Not just someone who looked like her, but her exact posture, her expression, her knit sweater with the frayed cuff she always fidgeted with. Watching, waiting, silent. Behind her, Cameron. Then Lennox. "Oh my God," she breathed. "We're in it!" "No," Lennox muttered, backing toward the exit, though they both knew it no longer existed. "We never sat for that. We never filmed anything. This is pre-recorded. Impossible!" Cameron finally turned, slowly, eyes hollow. "It's already happened." "What?" Mara stepped toward him. His voice was flat, distant. "We're not in the middle of it. We're at the end. We're just watching what already happened, and we're watching ourselves disappear." Then the screen flickered again and showed an empty theater. No audience, no camera movement, just stillness and sound. Something new. Footsteps. Coming from the back of the room. Lennox spun, flashlight trembling. Nothing there. Another step. Closer. Mara grabbed Cameron's arm. "What is it? What the hell is it?" He didn't answer, just turned slowly and looked over his shoulder. "It's the usher." "What?" "The legend," he whispered. They said the usher locked the doors when the fire started. They said he stood at the back, counted the seats, made sure none left. The beam of the flashlight finally caught something just for a second, a sliver of a black vest, a pale face, motionless, watching. Then the light sputtered out, and Lennox screamed, but this time they heard it.
Lennox's scream didn't echo. It just stopped, like a record needle ripped sideways. One moment, the raw terror of his voice was shredding the stale air, and the next, nothing. No footsteps, no body, no sign of where he'd gone. Only the silence again, but now it was dense, like velvet over the mouth. Mara pressed her back to the wall, her hands trembling. Somewhere in the blackness the flashlight rolled unseen. Her eyes adjusted barely. The screen still glowed, weakly now, as though tired. It showed only the empty theater, from a distance, as though the lens itself had taken a step back. The seats sat undisturbed, except for one. Dead center. Occupied. Cameron's breath rattled beside her. "It's calling them back to their places." "What?" she whispered. "They were always here," he muttered. "That's the trick. The fire didn't kill them. It took them, swallowed them into the performance. The audience never left. They became the show." Mara turned to him, grabbing his shoulders. "Cam, we have to fight this. We're not part of this place. We were never meant to be." But Cameron didn't look at her. His gaze was locked on the stage. A curtain was rising again, not on the screen, on the actual stage. No projector now, no tape. Just the theater performing for itself. Dust swirled in the beam of invisible lights, falling like snow. A faint piano note chimed, impossibly distant, yet inescapably near. From the wings stepped the man in the tuxedo, taller than he should have been, limbs moving too slowly, as though resisting time itself. His face remained a blur, but behind the smear something moved, like mouths twitching beneath skin, and in one hand he held a small white card, a ticket. Cameron stepped forward. "Cam, don't," Mara begged, clutching his wrist. "Please, don't go up there. This isn't you. You said it yourself. It's a story." He turned to her. Something had dimmed behind his eyes. Stories only scare us because they might be true. He placed the ticket gently in her hand. "For the next showing," and walked up the aisle, slow and reverent, as though returning to a pew. He stepped onto the stage. The man in the tuxedo held out his hand. Cameron took it and vanished behind the curtain. Mara stood alone. She couldn't scream. Her voice was gone. It felt taken, gently, without pain, but permanently. The ticket in her hand felt warm, familiar, like something she'd held once in a childhood dream. The screen behind her flickered. It now showed the beginning of the film again. But not the theater, not the audience. Her. Standing in the aisle, ticket in hand, looking up at the screen. The projector was never real. The screen was never glass. The performance was memory. And Mara, trembling, heart cracking under the weight of all she'd seen, understood. They hadn't watched the tape. The tape had watched them. She took one step back, toward the exit that didn't exist, and found only wall. Another step, another.
Then the screen whispered, not aloud, not with sound, but with her own voice, recorded, replayed, distorted into something already written. "Welcome. Please take your seat." The lights dimmed again, and the curtain rose. The theater was never closed, only waiting.